So who's more attractive really? Volodymyr Zelenskyy or Vladimir Putin? Welcome back to LookLogix, everyone. Today I'll assess the harmony for both Putin and Zelenskyy, and then we'll compare each ratio and see who has a better score overall. So first, on faceiq Labs, I've landmarked their front and side profiles. These are the best pictures I could find with little to no distortion. Even though they are slightly different ages in these photos, they round out to pretty similar scores. Now, we see the harmony analysis from 0 to 10, the big score for each person, and you may think, okay, well, there's the answer. Zelenskyy has a higher harmony, he's more attractive. Well, this is only his harmony, so it's not including his dimorphism, his height, his status, his voice, things like that. Now, we can go through those scores, but really this is just going to be the harmony analysis. And it does show Zelenskyy having a higher score. But if we bring them into their primes and their range, Putin is a 5 out of 10 facially, and Zelenskyy is about a 5.25 out of 10. So Zelenskyy does win overall, but what actually makes him look better? What makes him a better looking person? So let's start with his front ratios. We can see the two landmarks with the visual analysis guide. So his mouth width to nose width ratios are first ratio, and face 1 gets a 1.47 out of 10. So Zelenskyy only gets a 1.47, and Putin gets a 10 out of 10. So it's a pretty amazing difference here, and Putin mogs that part. Moving on, his jaw frontal angle, 2.39 out of 10 and 2.14 out of 10. So both very similar, flat jaws, very European. The brow length to face width ratio, which is a new score, is a 2.86 for Zelenskyy and a 6.65 for Putin. So we have these 33 ratios analyzed. Moving on, his jaw slope for Putin is a 6.96 out of 10, so actually pretty ideal, and then a 5.03 for Zelenskyy. Lateral canthal tilt is a 5.25 for Zelenskyy and a 9.43 for Putin. So very different scores, and you can see Putin actually looks pretty decent in this photo. Nice cheekbones, very European, very actually really good looking, especially with the clean shaven. However, the ratios just look off. You can see how short his jaw is. That's one of his lowest, or that's one of his most prominent defects or flaws on his face. And then Zelenskyy has the better, longer jaw. So that is the main difference. And this is actually what causes Putin to be so recognizable as well. Their ear protrusion angle is an 8.46 for Zelenskyy and then a 4.18 for Putin. So his ears protrude too far out. Zelenskyy has almost ideal protrusion of his ears. Their mid-face ratio is an 8.89 for Zelenskyy and a 10 out of 10 for Putin. Neck width is pretty similar, basically a 10. And eyebrow low setedness. Okay, interesting. So yeah, definitely Putin has medium set eyebrows. Now the definitely not high set though. The shading, the shadow under the eye does give illusion of lower set eyebrows, and Zelenskyy, yeah, he has low set, I would say, but they're pretty similar. Overall, Putin has low to medium set eyebrows. They're not super low set, but they aren't that bad at all. The one eye apart test is a 10 out of 10 for Zelenskyy and a 7.87 for Putin. The eyebrow tilt is a 10 out of 10 for Zelenskyy and a 6.97 out of 10 for Putin. Now, ear protrusion ratio here is a 10 out of 10 for Zelenskyy and then 6.35 for Putin. The score above here is the ear protrusion angle, and this is slightly different. This is the angle that is protruding versus the actual protrusion ratio of how far it's going on the face. So two different scores. You can get them mixed up. By the way, guys, if you'd like to try the app for yourself, you can use my code LookLogix for 20% off any plan. You actually can have your full face analyzed, your front and side profile. You get to see your full harmony analysis, and you can actually have your side profile for free marked down. So make sure you use that link in the description in the comment section. Try it out. Tell me what you think. Let's move over to the side ratios. All right, so for Zelenskyy and Putin's side ratios, submental cervical angles is 0.55 out of 10. That's horrendous. And then a 9.95 out of 10 for Putin. Now you can see where I landmarked the submental cervical angle slightly different for the visceral fat because of this picture being older for Putin. He has more of this And he's also sticking his tongue down on the bottom, you can tell, because there's so much more fat here. It's not a nice sharp jaw. But with Zelenskyy, even looking at his younger side profiles, he always had a lot of fat around here and was never fully lean, so I'm marking it appropriately in that area, just slightly a little leaner to kind of replicate him being slightly younger. His nose tip rotation angle, 2.4 for Zelenskyy and a 6.6 for Putin. Then I'll scroll through these and you can pause the video if you'd like to see where they're at, and you can see the range, and then the phase 1 and phase 2's range. Gonian, okay, nasal-mental angle is a 10 out of 10 for both. So we can see that 4 of these ratios, actually 5 right here, are all 10 out of 10 for both individuals. And yeah, they're pretty similar, honestly, especially this lip area, bottom lip, lower lip area. The nose is definitely upturned for Putin, and then this feminized brow ridge is very prominent. So there we go, guys. This is how attractive Zelenskyy is versus Putin. And we can see their key strengths. Yeah, proportionate lower face, balanced brow ridge, ideal forehead slope, balanced eyebrow tilt, ideal jaw width. Yeah. So there's the key strengths for both individuals. And then their areas of improvement. Yeah, flat jaw is the main one, almost an entire point taken out for Putin. And then also a flat jaw, but in a different way. The jaw lacks curvature, appearing straight and less dynamic in shape. Overly compact face shape, hyperdivergent jaw growth, mandibular recession, insufficient eye tilt, wide nose, soft and weak brow ridge, close set eyes. So we can see here's the areas of improvement. And yeah, slightly more areas of improvement for Putin here. Definitely Zelenskyy is slightly more attractive, counting them in their prime. And thank you all for watching. If you'd like me to analyze anyone else's face, put a comment down below. Once again, if you'd like to try the app for yourself, 20% off any plan with the code LookLogix. I'll put a link in the comment section in the description. I'll see you all in the next video.